Hello again, and here we are for another week at Perfectly Paranormal, episode 150. My name's Annaschmidt, and I'm here every week to share with you true paranormal encounters and information about devils, demons, and dark energy beings that no one else talks about. And today you're going to hear why people often get flu-like symptoms after energy work, such as Reiki or other personal or even home energy clearing work. Sounds a bit ominous, doesn't it? But it isn't really. There are some very valid reasons, and when you hear them, you will understand why. Now, after doing energy clearing work for a very long time, I've been noticing consistent episodes of clients reporting illness, especially cold symptoms or flu-like symptoms after they've had energy clearing work done. When you really think about it, it kind of makes a lot of sense. So let's get into it and unpack why this happens. Homes absorb energy. I talk about it all the time. Now, it's both positive energy, but also the negative energy that we create. Our words, our actions, our negative reactions, our traumatic emotions, our mental states, our addictions, the list goes on. All of these can leave energetic imprints in, on, under, around, like the buildings absorb them into the structure of the building, the fittings, all the contents, the space within each room, and also on the land. And when people buy homes, new homes, often, this is like newly built homes, often have some imprints on the land, but also from all of the tradespeople that have been traipsing through the homes, building them. I'm not having a dig at tradies. Tradies are people, and we all have emotional baggage. It just is what it is. But most of the issues, most of the long-term build-ups of this energy that really affects people is in the older and sometimes historic homes, because there can be moderate to really massive build-ups of negative energy that is added to by the dark and the paranormal entities that are present, because they're feeding off the detrimental energetic build-up in the homes. It's their favourite food source. If you've got a lot of anger in the home, you're going to attract the entities that like anger. It just is what it is. Now, people in buildings marinate. Now, I love that word marinate. A friend of mine said that, and I adopted it to use with this. She said, "Oh, so we marinate in all this energy." And I went, wow, that is the perfect word. People in buildings marinate in negativity. And this energy can make people sick over time. I'm not a medical doctor or a mental health professional of any kind. But I've observed in myself, clients and friends and family, the detrimental influences in the way that the mind, the body and the soul functions around negative energy in homes. And if you feel better when you're away from your home, when you go to work and you're out socialising, you feel great. When you come home, it can be psychological. You can be building up going, oh, I'm coming home and I'm going to argue with my partner again. So you're kind of setting yourself up for that. But not everyone does that. You get home and you're either heightened or you feel lethargic and you feel argumentative. And it's not because you've stressed at work. You were fine when you were out. It's when you're coming home, you're then again marinating in all this energy that's in the home. Now, this is one of the key signs that there's something in your home that is upsetting you, the children, your partner, visitors, the dog, the cat, the budgie. Now, I will say you must always debunk first before you presume that there's an energetic issue in your home. Okay? So you have to check for things like, gas leakages, black mold or environment or personal medical factors even that could be causing the illness or the issues that you're having before assuming that it's an energetic or a coincidence timed with energy clearing work on your property. Because sometimes people say to me, oh, ever since you did that energy clearing, everything's gone downhill. And I'm like, okay, I'm hearing you. Let's unpack what else is going on in your life. And the person's, if they're on the phone or they're on Zoom, quite often they're irate, they've lost their job, or they're having a hard time with their boss, their kids are not happy at school. It's just, life is difficult in general. So they can't blame me for doing the energy clearing on the home as having caused their issues. I will say, though, that the change in the home's energy, it's always a positive change. But I give this analogy. If you lived your whole life in a smoke-filled room and you got used to it and it just became part of life, and someone like me comes along and opens the doors, open the windows, give it a full cleaning, a full flush out of all the smoke, your brain, your body, your mind, your whole functioning is going to go, what's going on? What's changed? I don't feel right. I don't feel well. And it's the fact that the energy in the home has now changed. It's not smoky and it's not what your lungs have been used to. And all of a sudden it's cleaned out. Your body's going to react. I've outlined some of the signs and symptoms that occupants of homes may go through. And it's a short period of time. It may be, now I'm talking maybe 1 to 2 days, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks at the most. And it all depends on the level of energetic build-up and the type of energetic build-up that's been in the home. Now, some of the signs and symptoms, they can be quite variable from nothing. People quite often don't feel anything, or they just find that all of a sudden their whole life has improved and they've got job opportunities coming in. They don't feel stagnant anymore. People quite often say, this is quite funny, I just had the sudden urge to declutter. Because I've cleaned out the home energetically, they're now seeing all the physical clutter and all the stuff they don't need, the things that have been holding them back, the things that have been keeping them in the past. You can't live in the past, you have to live in the now. So clearing and rebalancing symptoms may appear as some of the physical symptoms, such as tiredness, increased periods of alertness, or an increase or a decrease in your appetite or your thirst, lightheadedness, even a mild headache. Now, some clients have reported that they go through a mild flu or a head cold. And usually it's the whole family, like it's everyone in the family. And that's when I went, hang on, they were all right last week before I did this clearing. And I know it's nothing that I've done in a negative way. It's just that I've cleaned out all the negativity that's been in their home and their body is reacting to it. That's what our bodies do. They react to changes in the environment. So I give people what I call a home aftercare sheet now. And I will say to them, I usually give it out in the initial email, and I'll say, okay, these are some of the things that you may experience during the property cleansing, but also after the property cleansing. So they've got an idea that if they're having a sleepless night, it's just because the energy is changing in the home. Some people will actually feel the energy changing. It's all about how sensitive you are. And some people find it quite exciting to feel that stagnant energy moving, that marinating energy, that all the emotions that they've been stuck in themselves for so long, it's all being shifted. Other people don't feel anything but other than great and wonderful and life's really good. Now, emotional symptoms. Sometimes people can experience anxiety or paranoia, depending on how fussed they are by the possibility of paranormal beings being in their homes. If they've had lights flickering and strange, cold, sort of wafting breezes moving through their homes or dark, shadowy figures moving around, some people are frightened by that, where others aren't. Other people find it quite exciting, like myself. It's like, oh yeah, I know what that is. For some people, it really, really does make them quake in their boots. So they'll be just lying in bed all night, paranoid and anxious, because they know that there's entities in their home. This is why I made this podcast, so that I can just explain to people that these beings are here all the time. They're just part of all the dimensions that all overlap, all in the same place, all at the same time. They're just part of the environment. When you observe them, you're not actually frightened of them anymore. They don't have any power over you, and that's the thing. Because I'm not going to get too sidetracked. Dark and demonic beings will only react with what you are triggered by. So I don't have any issues with them because I'm not triggered by them. If you're triggered by the lights flickering, they're going to flicker your lights. If you're triggered by them tugging on your blankets, that's exactly what they're going to give you to get the food source that they want. Fear, anxiety, paranoia, worry. So it's about being savvy and being smarter than them and knowing what they're up to. So if this happens to you when you've had a house cleansing, a clearing, a saging, a drumming, whatever person that you've had in your home to do a cleansing of your home, what are some of the useful tools that you can utilise to assist you after your home energy clearing? Now, what I've tried to say earlier, I've actually written in a sentence. A home detox is a bit like a body detox. It's a bit like a personal detox, and you need to take care of your body afterwards. It's all the basic things that you should be doing for yourself anyway. Eat a regular healthy diet and drink plenty of water. Spend as much time as you need resting. Gentle exercise. So for people that want to do heavier exercise, that's up to you. So gentle exercise for your body can be things like walking, yoga, swimming, gardening, whatever floats your boat. Get your body moving. Do breathing exercises to relax, calm, and center your mind and body. Now go to bed earlier. I know that's difficult when you get home from work and you want to sit up till midnight watching a favourite movie, but your body needs rest. It needs quality sleep to help you recover. And this is from your day out, like your day out at work or whatever it is you've been doing. Your body needs to relax, rest, and reset. And that's what happens during sleep. I go to bed a lot earlier now than I used to. You've got to observe what your body needs. Because like I said earlier, your body is going to notice the change in the energy of the home. It's not going to feel stuck or stagnant or dark or dense or all those negative type of things that keep people low in their energy. They keep people down. Your emotions down. You feel down all the time. Mentally and emotionally, you just can't seem to get a grip. Because quite often it can be the energy in homes. Now this can be rented homes. This can be, like I said before, sort of homes, it depends on what's been going on in them. I mean, you can have a 10-year-old house that's been a drug den or a brothel, or it's had some really dark, like murders and all sorts of things going on. Or you can have a house that's 40, 50, 100, 300, 400 years old. I usually find it older the house, the more negative emotional and trauma imprints. And that doesn't even account for the addictions or some of the actions and activities that people get up to in their homes. And things like magic, satanic practices, hoarding, gambling, anything that triggers you. I had a lady once who was in a wonderful relationship, just a very short story here, wonderful relationship with her partner, like 30 years they'd been together. They move into a new house. They had some of the kids come and live with them and the grandkids come and live with them. All of a sudden, the wife thinks that the husband is having an affair. And she went down that rabbit hole mentally, emotionally, physically, ended up in the psych ward at the local hospital because she couldn't cope. When they employed me to do a clearing of the home, you're never going to guess what was there. It was a divorce home. So there'd been lots of adultery. There'd been lots of arguing and fighting about relationships. This new family that had moved in, no one else picked up on the energy, or not that they could explain. But this lady was very, very energetically or psychically sensitive. So she was picking up on the emotions of the wife that had previously lived there and how she hated her husband and he was having an affair and what was she going to do with her life and I can't cope and I've loved him for all these years and why is he leaving me? And this poor lady, when I cleaned out the home, her mental state returned to normal. Yes, she still did have some work to do on herself because she'd been in this state for sort of, I think it was 6 to 8 months. She'd slowly got worse and worse and worse. But when she came home from the hospital that she'd been in, she's like, something shifted. What's changed in the house? And I went, oh, you're never going to guess what sort of house this was. And she was like, oh, and then there was that silence on the other end. And I went, this was a divorce home. Divorce homes carry a lot of anger, a lot of emotions. I did an episode on divorce homes. Can't tell you the number, but it would be in my list. But it's just something to be aware of. They had a perfect relationship before they moved into this new house. And the house wasn't new, but it was a new home for them. It was, I think, 30, 40, 50 years old. But it was only the previous occupant that had created that divorce energy. So it's really quite complex, and I do love unpacking the energy in homes. Now, leading into, what can you expect from a home and a property clearing? A lot of people use these exact words. It feels lighter, brighter, and more energized. This is where people get into cleaning mode. They're like, wow, I never saw those cobwebs before. Oh my God, the walls. Look at the colour of these walls. I want to change the colour of the walls. I just don't need all those books anymore. They start going through this decluttering and cleansing process, which is very, very healthy, because that stagnant energy in the home has just kept them stuck. It's kept them stuck in old patterns of behaviour and not embracing opportunities or prospects in their lives. So a lighter, brighter, more positively energised space. Now, a lot of people also too, these are the top two. That's the top one. The second one is better quality sleep, because the home's energy is more relaxed. There's no negative emotional imprints, trauma imprints, and especially no entities. No spirits, elementals, dark or demonic entities present in the home. So number three is your pets are going to be happier, more lively, and just generally happier all round, more loving, more active. Now, number four is better relationship connections between all family members. Now, it doesn't mean everything's going to be perfect, because you know what it's like. Mums, dads, partners, teenagers, everyone's got their stuff going on. But you haven't got that extra level of what's going on in the house, because that negative energy's been removed. And people come home and they're not triggered by what's in the house. But when you start to be aware of and observe different behaviour patterns, why is this happening? Oh, we've just been out, we've been here, we've been there, we've got looking at a new house. And one thing I will say is never ever go through a house you're looking at buying, never ever go through it once, 2, 3, 4 times to be absolutely sure that it is what you want. Don't go in all glassy-eyed because it's got fancy furniture and lovely fittings and you like the lights and everything. How does it feel? That's really important. So when I do home clearings, yes, people do sometimes have a negative reaction at first because their body's got to adapt to the change. Remember the smoke-filled room? The body has to adapt to the change. And for some people, it is more intense than for others. So I trust that my explanation today has made a lot of sense, and that the outcome for the home and the occupants is always positive. Always, always, always positive. But it can be a 1-week detox, 2-week detox. Sometimes it can take 3 weeks for the house to start to fully feel centered and relaxed. I know when a home is feeling better because, and it's going to sound weird, is that when I tune into the property and have a look, it has a very peaceful hum about it. Like I feel energy, but also hear energy. I can't explain that. Magic has a particular vibration. I couldn't give you the hertz or give you a number to go with that, but I know when someone's trying to hit me with psychic attack or magic attack because I hear the vibration. So it's the same when I tune into homes. Quite often homes are angry or agitated or prickly, like when you've been, another analogy, if you've been in a room where people have been arguing, the energy feels prickly and uncomfortable and you're like, oh, I don't want to be in here. You go into a nice, peaceful, calm room and you feel relaxed and you just want to sit down and you're happy and you're having a chat. That's the different awareness. So homes' vibrations will change. And because you live in homes, your vibration will adapt to the new energy. So in episode 151, you're going to hear all about how storms possibly enhance paranormal activity. I've always poo-pooed that, but we will see. Once I did some research and talked to a few people and had a bit of a think about it, maybe that's a possibility. Do spirits and dark and possibly demonic beings feed on the heightened electrical charge in the air? And how does it all work? So stay tuned for next week and you will find out. If you like the content of this episode today, please think about leaving me a rating and a review. What reviews do is they let other people know your thoughts about my supernatural subject matter. People love reading reviews, and we're spreading the word about the real paranormal world around us. I would really appreciate it. Now let's get back to the episode. So thank you for joining me today, and don't forget, if you want to share a paranormal experience just with myself, or you would like me to share one of your experiences through my podcast, you can do a voice recording, or you can write out your experience and I will read it exactly as you have written. You can email me at spiritualbeing44@gmail.com. And for information on paranormal house clearing, you can visit my website, Spiritual Being. You will find the address in the description box. And I look forward to sharing this spooky space again with you next week. And remember, life is perfectly paranormal.